So we are going to continue with our topic units of measurement. It's still on objective one, but we're looking at objective 1B and 2B. This time we're going to focus on lengths or what we call distances. So the question is, what is a distance? Very often we need to be aware of how far apart points are. These 2 points can be found on a single object. So that means if you're trying to measure height, a height is a distance from the lowest point to the highest point, and this answers the question, how high? This young girl is next to a chart. We're not going to measure to her hands. We're going to measure to the top of her head. A width is the distance between two side points. So as we look at this wheelchair, from the leftmost point to the rightmost point, and this would answer the question, how wide? Of course, length is what we would normally call distances. It answers the question, how long? You can see when we talk of here, we say how long, but there's also a unit of time that we ask the question, how long, but we're talking about this time. But there is unit for the length of time as well. So distances can also exist when the 2 points can be found in two entirely different locations. These distances are not always linear. That means it's not always on a straight line. You can see, if many of you have probably done before, runners on the track are often called to run around curves. And so as you can see, the standard track, the 100 meters is a straight race. But if you want to run the 200 meters, you got to start coming around the curve and then come around before you hit the finish line. Of course, the 400 goes around the track once, and going around twice is 800 meters. Going around four times is 1600, but the race is called the 1500 meters race. But of course, I think you understand what I'm trying to say. You can consider what a distance is in terms of a distance traveled. So we want to look at the imperial units of distances. Smallest unit for this would be the inch. It's about between the knuckle and your first finger. If you measure in between the two fingers, I think that's going to be an approximate size. The foot is the next unit. It says it's approximately the length of a license plate. But I know people who, when they put down a foot, they actually put down a foot. And then we have the yard. One who watches football knows what this is. It's about the size or the length of a baseball bat. And then, of course, the unit we call the mile. You could walk a mile in about 20 minutes. I don't know. Shape. Now, well, let's look at the metric units. These would be centered around the meter. So if you get 1,000 of these millimeters, you're going to end up with a meter. If you have 100 centimeters, you're going to get the meter. And of course, the longer distance is the kilometer or kilometer.